Chris Matthews wants us to believe Pamela Gellar caused the shooting in Texas. According to you liberals, those trigger-happy Texans even have triggers instead of levers on their toilet they love shooting so much. But all of a sudden, Pamela Gellar is the reason why there's a shooting in Texas? Pamela Gellar is about as much to blame for that shooting as Bruce Jenner is a real woman, or a Republican, or a Christian.
I think what's happening. Propaganda.
So you're just defending Pamela because she's a conservative, and you just defend them no matter what. Pamela Gellar isn't exactly a conservative. She's pro-abortion and pro-redefinition of marriage. Sure, she's got some strong leanings to the right, but like I said, social liberalism ultimately cancels out limited government conservatism. Let me remind you, if a woman feels entitled to take the life of her preborn kid, she will also feel entitled to take someone's property to pay for it. The state will be happy to tax your income to do it, which means the state is condoning depriving someone of life without due process and violating your right to property as it digs into your pocket to pay for it, which means bigger government. And that's an example of how social liberalism cancels out fiscal and small government conservatism. Redefining marriage cancels out smaller government when it depends on the state to violate the first right of the First Amendment. How can you have free religious exercise when you're forced to capitulate to people who want to make your church or business answer to you rather than God? The state in our republic cannot force you to be a Christian, nor should it. Jesus doesn't get down like that. However, the state should also not force you to abandon the principles of your faith to satisfy those with desires apart from God. I think it's weird that the liberal Southern Poverty Center labels Gellar as part of a hate group when she's in agreement with them on paramount so-called progressive issues. Oh, but she's Jewish. You know how much the Democrats have always hated the Jews, from the KKK to the anti-Zionists today. Democrats don't like Jews, unless they're Jews that throw Israel under the bus. That's a good Jew to Democrats. Pamela Gellar isn't guilty of inviting violence. These jihadists were guilty of being violent. If you are motivated to kill because of a drawing, you're the problem, not Pamela Gellar. They're the problem when they just want to kill people over a drawing, when as far as I can tell, the Quran doesn't even say that depicting Muhammad is prohibited, nor is it so expressed in the Hadith. Remember, the Quran is a satanic work, and in its satanic nature attempts to mimic God to draw people away from him and their salvation. Along with this imitation is the prohibiting of depicting deities. The Bible says in the Ten Commandments, you shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above or on the earth beneath or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments. You know why it seems like you don't see all that love God promised? It's because people don't follow his commandments. But look at these. You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above or on the earth beneath or in the waters below. You shall not make for yourself, meaning you shall not make an image that satisfies you. God created us in his image. You cannot create God in yours. You cannot create a God that represents your desires or what you think is right according to you and justify giving it what you think it wants to appease it. And that's what the worship of anything else does. The worship of anything else has no clear line of what will appease it to reward you, which invites committing evil in hopes of a reward, whereas God draws a clear line. Reading through, it says, you shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above or on the earth beneath or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. This is paganism, astrology, earth worship, etc. Cultures would sacrifice their children, virgins, slaves, raid other tribes and offer them as a sacrifice to their idols in hopes that the heavens would give them rain, or that the spirits of the earth would give them good crops, or that the spirits of the water would yield fish, or that the streams would flow. They would do harm to each other to appease their idols, whereas God doesn't call men to do such things. God doesn't dig depictions or objects that are focus of people's worship because they are false, and this worship leads to murder. The irony is that Muslims are the most offended by the depictions of Muhammad, Maybe the reason why they're so offended without realizing why they're so offended is because the image of Muhammad is an engraven image that represents a face of falsehood. Anyway, God states that he's a jealous God. It's a protective jealousy that you'd have over your own kids. Secularists try to use that against God, like him being jealous is a flaw to shame him over, while at the same time try to say God is indifferent to us. But Muslims will try to say that they don't worship Muhammad. But why is it that it's Muhammad that y'all make a big deal over? Shouldn't it be making images of Allah that should be the real concern? I'm Alfonso Rachel with ZoNation, and I haven't forgotten about you, Bruce Jenner, who claims to be a Christian. Maybe you think Jesus will be accepting of you becoming a woman, but wasn't Jesus already being accepting of you as a man, like, enough? Hey, Southern Poverty Center, since you're such an expert on hate groups, who do you think would kill Bruce Jenner first? Christians or Muslims? Pamela Gellar is about as much to blame for that shooting as Bruce Jenner is a real woman.